Once upon a time, in a faraway land, the queen of the witches, Maleficent, met a victorious king in the middle of the forest. They became good friends, and not long after, Maleficent fell in love with the king. After she confessed her love, the king asked Maleficent to marry him and promised to rule all the lands with her and their future heir.
Until one day,
You betrayed me. You promised to marry me, build our own family, and rule all the land. You'll pay for this. It's a big mistake to fool the queen of the wicked, Stefan.
Maleficent's rage erupts throughout his body and focuses her intention on the other women, ready to cast a powerful curse towards her. And suddenly,
Maleficent, please, not my wife. She's pregnant.
Shut it, Stefan. Listen well, all of you. Your king, all he wants is a crown prince next in line, and I can see him in your womb. But when the time comes for the birth of your child, he will transform into she, and his will transform into her. Hear my words. This is an unbreakable curse that only destiny will bring their remedy, and only a true love will break my curse.
Seize that creature!
Stand back, you fools!
after what happened in the palace, half of the forest started to rotten, while the other part remained green. Years later, the Gryffindor kingdom remained peaceful. For 18 years, the evil queen did not return. People's lives returned to normal. Different species of animals and plants developed in the forest. One day, there was a prince named Raven paid a visit in the rotten forest. Suddenly, an ear-splitting sound startled him.
Who was it? Is anybody here? Show yourself.
The whole forest was covered with silence. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of bats flew in chaos towards him. In terror, he ran while screaming until he almost reached the rotten forest's edge, trying to escape the bats while looking back on his trail and bumped his head on a fallen tree trunk, obstructing the way, and almost lost his consciousness.
Ow! That was hard. But what was that? I almost wet my pants in horror of that thing.
Are you alright?
A calm voice of a woman caught Raven's attention. He faced the woman with all the embarrassment on his face. Raven started to blush and widened his eyes upon seeing the mesmerizing face of the woman, and he started to startle upon replying to the question.
Yeah, I'm alright. Thanks. I'm Raven, by the way. Prince Raven of the Clock Kingdom.
I'm Vera, Princess of Gryffindor Kingdom. If you don't mind me asking, what are you doing there? In the Rotten Forest?
You have a really cool name. By the way, I'm collecting some specimens for my experiment. What are you doing here?
Would you like to go with me in the castle so that we can aid your process?
That would not be necessary. I'm fine. After all, my mother told me to never cross the border of this forest, and even not to talk to other people.
Alright, if that's your decision. I'll have to go now. My parents might be looking for me now. Like you, they do not allow me to go near this forest for an unknown reason. Goodbye, Raven.
Wait! Are you going to come back tomorrow?
With only a smile, she faced the Raven and didn't give any answer, then ran away. The next day, Raven waited at the border, hoping to see the princess for the second time. And he didn't fail. He saw Vera laying under the gloomy sun reading a book, and without hesitation, he called her name in a low voice that sounded almost like the sound of a mosquito.
Vera, it's me, Raven. Come on over. Raven? Is that you? Where are you?
I'm here, at the back of an oak tree.
After several days of meeting each other at the border, both of them didn't realize that they had already fallen in love with each other. As the days went by, their relationship became even stronger. One day, Vera invited Raven to come over to the palace to introduce him to her parents.
Come with me in the palace. I will formally introduce you to my parents. Surely, they would be glad to meet you.
However, Raven suddenly became pale since the ultimate rule of his mother was not to cross the border of the forest. After a couple of persuasions from Vera, he accepted the invitation to come over. If that's what will make you happy, then I would love to come with you. Ravens hadn't realized that there was a hawk sent by her mother to see where he was going in the past few days. The moment Raven stepped on the other side of the forest, the hawk flew away to report everything to Maleficent, Raven's mother. They started to ride a horse that Vera brought with her every time they were going to meet at the border. The moment that Raven was with Vera and her parents inside the castle, they started to introduce themselves to one another. When it was Raven's turn to introduce himself, suddenly the whole palace was once again struck by lightning, exactly like 18 years ago. Then Maleficent showed up again.
Well, look at these fools.
Mother, what are you doing here?
Mother? She's your mother?
Indeed, Stefan. He is my son, Prince of the Crow Kingdom.
King Stefan forcefully grabs his daughter away from Raven and hugs her tight. Confused of what is happening, then the king asks Maleficent to leave the palace or else he will ask the guards to seize her.
You will ask your army to seize me. Don't worry, my dear ex-lover. I am not going to curse your child for the second time. Let's go, Raven. We're leaving.
With a loud blast of thunder, Maleficent and Raven disappeared. From that day, both Raven and Vera were forbidden to see each other. One morning, the king visited her daughter and told everything. Same thing Maleficent did to her son. Even after knowing the whole story of the past, Raven and Vera's love for each other didn't change at all. Due to desperation, Raven and Vera escaped the castle and met at the border of the forest. As they met at the border of the forest, they exchanged their sweetest kisses. While the two are kissing, Vera's body starts to glow and the whole forest was covered with a radiant light. A few seconds later, a man appeared in front of Raven and the rotten forest became green once again.
Raven, this is the real me. I know, and I still love you. No curse could change that.
At the end, Raven and Vera's true love won against the darkness. Not long after, they became married in front of all the people of the Gryffindor kingdom. And they decided to leave both of their kingdom and started to live their lives in other place and build their own family. Finally, they found their happily ever after.